This is Mike Sylvia with New Bedford Guide. I'm here with Bill Cabral. He's the president of the New Bedford Fires Union, Local 841. So we're going to talk about the topic that's big right now, which is the fire station blackout, brownout. So what is a brownout blackout?
Well, first of all, Mike, thanks for having me. A blackout, we call them blackouts, some people call them brownouts, is basically a temporary station closure. So they shut down a piece of apparatus or a station for a temporary amount of time.
So it seems like people call, if you're in the media, you call it a brownout, or you're a mayor, but you guys call it a blackout. Is there a distinction?
There's no real distinction, you know. People in different parts of the country might call it something different, but we refer to them as blackouts.
Why is it happening?
Well, there's two different sides to this story, as I'm sure you know. The city's saying it's happening because of a lack of funding, because they think their overtime problem is out of control. We see it as a problem where the fire department's been underfunded, and we actually haven't hired in 5 years, and that's why we have a shortage of manpower, and that manpower is going to be filled by overtime or by shutting down a piece of apparatus. We think that the actual hiring guys to fill the spots is the best solution to this.
What are the dangers of, so brownout, blackout, that's kind of like the roving fire stations are closing, yeah. So they share responsibility out there. So what are the dangers of doing this?
The dangers are, you know, firefighters, they depend on consistency. You know, we show up to somebody's worst day, and sometimes, I'm sure you've been to fires, you know, it's very chaotic, and it's kind of a controlled chaos, and we depend on knowing, without having to think about who's closed today and who's closed yesterday, of who's coming next. Also, in the same vein, is that a fire will double in size every minute. So not only do minutes count, but seconds count. So if that first piece of apparatus that should be on scene is shut down for the day, now you're relying on that second piece of apparatus, which is much farther out. And that's to say, if they're not out with a call. So it could keep mushrooming over and over. Not a good practice. As a matter of fact, in the fastest report, the study that the city paid, I think it was close to $70,000 for to look over the fire and EMS in the city. The fastest report even said that they don't recommend doing the blackouts. And since that report came down, we've actually more than doubled the amount of time that we do the blackouts.
So the mayor has said that the fire department budget has gone up 18% this year, and 30 other departments have a flat budget. What do you have to say about that? In theory, you know, the budget has gone up, but some of that has, from what I view, is because through attrition, all the spots going away, they've actually taken that money and moved it around, and then they just bought two new fire engines and a new ladder truck for the tune of about $2 million, which is great. Which is great for the fire department, but unfortunately, you got a $1.2 million ladder truck. What good is it if nobody's riding on it? You know, and you can have all the nice trucks and they're great, but at the end of the day, firefighters put out fires, not fire trucks. So the increased budget seems to be more about capital than it is personnel increase.
It's a little bit of both. Some of it was contractual, you know what I mean? Some of it was contractual constraints that they had, but I think in the long run, it's just a reassessment of priorities. I think are needed just for the fact of I know that other city departments have hired in the last 5 years. Why haven't we?
And Carl brings a good point. I see you guys on Facebook, you put out the calls of the week. You know, fires is maybe like 3% of those calls. It's really a lot of medical, a lot of car fires. I saw couches on fire. So you guys you're doing way more than a fire department, say, in 1950 or 60.
Absolutely. I've been on the job 23 years, and in my time on the job, just in my time, the job has changed considerably. Anything that you can possibly think of, we go to. A lot of times when the public doesn't know who else to call, they call us, you know, and we're there, we're in the community, you know what I mean? We're doing what we can to help out the people that we serve. And I think it takes a special person to put their life on the line every day for strangers. You know, our police officers do it, our medics do it, people in the military do it, and the firefighters do it too.
We produce a lot of videos, probably like 20 a week, and a good 5 to 10 are cars slipped over, people overdosing on Narcan, and we always see the Bedford Firefighters there. They're
Yeah.
almost every scene of medical.
Absolutely. You know, I think we you know, not to disparage or talk down to any other department, but I think we're the best bang for the buck in the city. You know, we provide a great service. We're there quick. We're professional, and our men and women do a great job.
So just going back to there's a lot of overtime because of a lack of personnel that needs to be filled. How many personnel missing?
We've lost almost 30 in the past 5 years.
So
And that's due to retirements and some people leaving the job to go to other fire departments because they were concerned about the lack of stability here in the city in the Bedford Fire Department.
yeah, so that it makes sense that if you fill the 30 firefighters or so, that's actually cheaper sometimes than all the overtime costs that you have to put the existing firefighters under.
Right. I'm not an accountant or a CFO, but I'm sure there becomes a tipping point at some point where actually the overtime starts costing too much money, and you really should hire people.
So if you have questions, ask them, and I will ask Billy. So how long do you see this lasting? Is this been around for a while where federal funding's had to keep the fire department actually manned?
Yeah. You know, during the big economic downturn in the economy back in, I believe it was like 08, 010 or whatever it was, you know, we had to go for a federal grant. We got our first round of SAFER, which is, I do have to say, none of that would have been even possible. The 2 grants that we got, if it wasn't for Congressman Keating, Senator Warren, Senator Markey, they've all done great work. Senator Kerry, when he was in, they've done great work advocating for our fire department. We really appreciate that. It's tough, you know. When we got the first grant, there was money in the budget that actually for the guys, this first part of the sustainment grant that we got for the SAFER, there was money in the budget, in the fire budget for that year, and that money got dispersed out through every other department in the city. So every department in the city benefited from us bringing in that $12 million that first year. And then also the taxpayer benefited also, because that was a money that had to be gotten through tax increases. But on the backside of this, it seems that this isn't, everybody benefited, the city benefited, but on the backside of this, it doesn't seem like it's being taken as a city problem. It seems like it's being taken as a fire department problem and a fire department issue. And that's why we can't hire guys, because we don't know if you're gonna get that grant. But we're not doing that in any other department in the city, so it kind of seems a little trivial, kind of.
So be fair to Mayor Mitchell, it's something he inherited. There was already a low-end firefighter count when he inherited it, and he is pushing some federal funding. But so what's the biggest grievance for the union? What could we do to fix it? What can he do to fix it?
I'm not the mayor. You know, the mayor's he's got a really difficult job. I don't envy it at all, but by the same token, we got a really difficult job too. And when we're not equipped and we're not staffed the way that we should be, and bad things can happen to our members, and bad things can happen to property too. And I think it's something that's why we're advocating the way that we are. That's why we're putting the posts on our Facebook page on a daily basis when a piece is blacked out or when a station is closed for the day, because we feel the public should know, because firehouses are safe havens too. You know, when people have a problem and their son or daughter is having an allergic reaction, sometimes they just drive to the fire station. And they should know that that particular station isn't open today. You know, there should be some kind of public safety announcement to those people that they should know. You know, hey, this is closed today, so if something happens, maybe you shouldn't just go to the fire station. Maybe you should call 911, or maybe not even. Maybe drive yourself to the hospital if you're close. You know, sometimes their thought process might have to change depending on what fire station is open or closed.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago when it was a woman who had a baby and then she kind of left it somewhere. I remember in New Bedford, the baby.
Yeah.
I remember reading the law, and the fire departments are a place you can actually drop off your kid instead of killing your kid.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of things that people don't understand the fire department does. Now, we went out and tested. You guys put us through the ringer over in Fall River, and it opened our eyes to what you guys go through, but also opened our eyes to how quickly a fire, compared to like say 30, 40 years ago, where wood, the furniture was made out of stuff that didn't burn as quick.
Exactly.
So it's more important than ever that these brownout blackouts really do affect the time. I mean, I think it was like 5 minutes and the whole place was up in fire.
Right.
So you guys aren't there in 4 minutes.
Right. And
so every minute counts.
Exactly. Every minute counts. Every second counts. You know, it's most people, they get their firefighting knowledge from watching Ladder 49 or the movie Backdraft or Chicago Fire. It's, as you saw when we did that simulation for you guys, it's not even close to that. You know, there's a lot of things that go on. You know, to be a firefighter these days, you pretty much have to be an expert in everything. Hazardous materials, building construction, you name it, plumbing, electrical, you name it, you gotta know it, because it's all part of our job. Our job is multifaceted, and it's a really important one that shouldn't be minimized.
And someone asked about, they can't believe you guys actually have to do the Narcan. You guys have been doing that for about a year now, right?
It's been a while. It's
Yeah.
been a while, and you know, in a perfect world, we shouldn't have to do it, but there's a lot of people that are afflicted with this illness. I view it as an illness. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate, but it shows no boundaries. It's not just germane to New Bedford. It's all over the country right now, and I think it's good that we're equipped to have the tools to keep somebody alive, because that's what we do.
So Thomas asked, every time an ambulance rolls on a call, why does the fire engine have to go also?
It's not every time. You know, we go on all priority 1 medical calls, and a lot of times we'll go on calls when a private ambulance from out of town is coming. A lot of times we can get to the scene more quickly than the ambulance can, because sometimes they're very busy and sometimes they're coming from the hospital. So we can get to the home and to the patient more quickly, and actually give a quicker level of care and a better level of care, doing it with the paramedics in the city, who do a great job also.
So as far as a union, what do you see as a solution to ending these? I mean, obviously the mayor getting money or him making the call to end it, but what would you guys like to see for a long-term solution to this? Is it just manpower?
It's just manpower, you know what I mean? I'm sure the mayor hasn't really come to us with any ideas on how to stop this. You know, he's come out and he's come on the radio, so I'm actually not commenting for him, saying that this is a temporary until this new fire station, the proposed fire station, combination fire and police station is built. But even at that, it's a combination. They're consolidating 2 fire stations into one. So one fire engine ultimately is going to be shut down. It's going to be gone.
It's a permanent blackout.
Yes.
And now the radius of that one has to be much bigger.
Sure. And that's for the city planners to kind of deal with that issue. But ultimately, there'll be one fire engine that'll be closed.
Anything you'd like to add? Out of questions.
No, I just think I want to thank the public for their outpouring of support. You know what I mean? The firefighters in the city, we're on the job 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, and we're there to support the public and to help the public, and we just want to thank the public for actually helping and supporting us.
Thanks for your time. This was Bill Cabral, president of the local New Bedford Fire Department union. So thanks for your time.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.